Hello, my name is Dave Chambers. I'm a chaplain here at Pilgrimage Hospice. My role as a chaplain or spiritual counselor is to provide spiritual care and support according to the needs and wishes of the patient and their family. In order for me to do that, I try to build trust and relationship right from the start. I understand that they don't know me from Adam, and meeting with um, the chaplain, the holy man, or the minister can be an intimidating thing for the average person. I'll confess that when I meet with a pastor, I can be a little nervous around them sharing my story. Are they going to accept me? Are they going to judge me? These are normal feelings. And so I understand how a patient might feel like that as we first begin to meet. But I want you to know that I look forward to providing spiritual care for you, for your family. Um, I have gifts in this area, and I love to be with you and to learn about you. And so, as I thought about how I could talk about these things, I thought it might be best just to share a story about a man that I knew on hospice years ago. He had lived a hard life. He was a tough guy, a rough guy, a hard guy, and we didn't have much in common. And I was thinking, how am I going to bridge this gap? How am I going to build trust with him, to begin to build relationship with him so that I could meet his spiritual needs? And so we met for about 3 weeks, and for those 3 sessions, I facilitated life review. I helped him to tell me his story, who he was, how he uh, grew, what were his hobbies, his vocation, uh, what was it like growing up, or what was his family like. And so I would ask a lot of questions and listen, and then we would talk about some of those things. And so on about the fourth visit, I finally began to ask some spiritual questions. And I asked him right off the bat, how do you feel about you and God? And with pain on his face, he said, God can't forgive me for what I've done. I said, do you want to talk about that? And he said, okay. And he began to tell me a story, his story in Vietnam. And being a good soldier, he participated in the killing of women and children. And he carried tremendous guilt and shame for this all his life. And he began to self medicate with alcohol when he was still in Vietnam. And coming back to the States, he continued drinking all his life, an alcoholic, and was now dying from liver failure. And so I said to him, the Bible uh, tells us about God's forgiveness. Would it be okay if I read some scriptures to you and we could talk about them? And he said, yeah, that would be okay. And so I read to him some scriptures like, if we confess our sin, God is faithful and just to forgive us and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. And so I read that and several other scriptures, and we would talk about them for the next 2 or 3 visits. And he began to understand, and he asked a lot of questions, and we would talk about those. And finally, one day he said to me, "You know, I finally believe that God has forgiven me." And he said, "And I've received that forgiveness." And I could see this tremendous weight of guilt and shame lifted from his shoulders. He looked like a new man. I celebrated with him that afternoon, and I asked him if I could pray, and he said yes. And so I had a chance to pray and thank God for his forgiveness, and just to enjoy what this man had finally come to embrace. And within 24 hours, he was dead. And so this is a story of the kind of spiritual care that I try to provide. I'm not here to judge or to convert, but I'm here to help and to comfort and to grant peace and to instill hope in our hearts, hope in what is awaiting us on the other side of this life. So thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful, and we'll talk again soon.